We'll call the meeting to order. And make roll call.
Pokrzywinski. Blair. Black.
Present.
Messelt.
Here.
Hecht. Grinde.
Yes.
Riopelle.
Here.
We have to do this thing on the agenda first before we go any further.
What thing on the agenda?
Don't we have to add this to the agenda?
Oh, we can add it. I was just going to say, go ahead.
Diane's coming.
We need to add one item on the agenda. We received a letter yesterday from Kaler Doling, a law firm, asking if we wish to renew a judgment. The judgment was obtained 10 years ago. It expires on October 15th, and they are recommending that we renew that. So when we get down to new business, we can deal with it then. But just so you know that this is on the agenda as well.
Approval of the minutes for August 7th meeting.
Move. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes approved. Bills and communications. Review of accounts payable, August 21st. And review of accounts payable for September 4th. Any questions or comments on those? Approval of accounts payable of September 18th.
No questions here.
None.
Move approval.
Move to approve and second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? It's approved. Reports, delinquency update.
Currently, all accounts are current.
Are all the accounts current on this month's payment, or are they behind on, some are behind on?
Some are slow paid, and that's what I brought up later on the agenda.
Okay.
With some slow pays, they are consistently slow. We can talk about it now. We have a couple of accounts that are consistently slow pays, and we are starting to change them over to an automatic payment.
Are they slow, or are they behind like a month or two or something?
They're not behind.
Okay.
If a payment was due on the 1st of this month, the penalty wouldn't kick in until the 15th, and so they're not late at all.
So they're just slow payers.
Are they receptive to the automatic payment?
No, they're, okay, no, that doesn't mean we're not going to push,
Okay.
okay? It just, it becomes a headache. You know, Brenda sends me an email, says so-and-so hasn't paid. I have to let them know, and then the biggest thing is I have to, it comes up to a time where I remind them if they don't pay by such and such a date, it's going to be announced publicly at the EDA meeting, and all of a sudden the money magically appears. So we do have a little bit of clout that way, but I'd rather get out of this cycle of doing things over and over again where we know it. And the silly thing is, one of the payments is under $100. So we end up taking and doing effort that we could devote to other activities.
It's costing us more than the $100 just to collect that $100 on a monthly basis.
But that doesn't mean we should forgive it.
That's right.
Okay.
Monthly financial reports, July and August.
Carla had another commitment at this time. She and I both, we talked about it briefly. There's nothing unusual in the accounts. If you have any questions, I will do my best to answer.
You know, I look at that account, that fund accounting. I've got a bachelor's degree in accounting, and I have a hard time following or making any sense of it. I guess that's a matter of fund accounting. It's all government agencies use it, and it's made to confuse people, I think.
I agree. Right.
Any questions or comments on the financial statements?
No.
Unfinished business.
Can I suggest something? We have,
We can do it later. I've got time.
okay.
My next meeting is 1:30, so no rush for me.
Gary promised me we'd be out of here by 1:30, so.
131.
You got Ralph in charge. We'll be out of here.
Yeah, the last one, man.
I forgot.
Zipped through that one.
Thus,
I have reviewed the draft of the marketing plan, marketing strategy, and it is being revised. And what we have brought before you today, it's time to say, move ahead on the brand. You can see information up there as a reminder. I included information in the packet. The approval of the brand includes rules. Now, it's important to remember there's a difference between a brand and a logo. The brand, think of the NFL, for example. The NFL itself is the brand for the National Football League. Each team has their own logos, like in the city, those would be different departments have their own logos. But if you look at it, every time you look at it, you also see NFL. The brand is part of it. And that's what we're doing here, is the brand is the unifying theme for all the different things that go on in the community. So that's what this is all about, is identifying and accepting and approving the unifying theme for the community.
Our talk at council is, for example, where we have the EDA up there, below we'll put maybe Parks and Recreation Department or Public Works Department, but we'll still use the branded logo.
Well, we've done some toying with that to show how it can be represented, so let me share that with you. Let me give you one more for Christine so she can see it. I owe you two more. We looked at several different things, and we mocked some things up, and what you have before you is something that shows EDA is short. With the three letters, we can put that at the end. But if you do Parks and Recreation or Water and Light, those are too long, or Public Administration, those are too long to go at the end. So we looked at ways that it could work for every department. And what we thought about doing is we'll use the Life Connected for East Grand Forks, but underneath it, draw a line and put the department or the organization underneath it. And that way it can be unified, everybody can use it. They have a separate brand, they have a separate logo, they can incorporate this into the same general area. We did two things. One, we did it in basically black and white down on the bottom. We looked at colors, and I thought the gold differentiates. It shows that we have the overall brand, and then the department stands out separately. So this is how we would implement what you have according to the rules. Taylor, anything else I've missed or add?
No, I think you covered it pretty well.
Okay. So what do you think of what we've done here, for example?
I like color.
I like that it's spelled out. Tell people in the community what EDA, I'm on the
people
EDA
don't know
board,
what it
people
means.
don't know what
I agree.
EDA stands for.
I agree.
I like that it's spelled out.
So, at this point, we need a vote for the EDA and then a recommendation to the city council, and I think that can be one motion, that this be accepted as a citywide branding effort, citywide brand, and that we be able to use it and incorporate with the other departments as well.
So moved.
I'll second. No, you're
all
fine.
in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And that includes recommending to the city council.
Yes.
Director's report.
I have included a lot of things on the director's report. If you have any questions, please ask. We talked a little bit, I'm trying to expedite the meeting because I know all of you, or most of you have business activities and other activities. So I'm trying to make sure you can get in and out. So if you have questions, please ask. The slow payers, does anybody object to my working to make sure that they go on to an automatic pay?
No, that'd be
No, I
great.
think that's a great idea.
I didn't think you would object, but I thought I should bounce it through you. And I also point out about the Northern Valley Career Expo on the 31st. Okay? We are going to be having a couple pieces of equipment on display there, a police car and a road grader. And this is a it's a community-wide effort that brings in about 1,500 to 1,600 students from school districts 50, 60, 70 miles away to introduce the students to different kinds of careers that they have, the opportunities they have in this area, if they were to say in this area. And it's try to let them know, because when you go to school, you know what your parents did, you see what teachers do, you see doctors, you see lawyers on TV and police and fire on TV. But there's a lot of careers. I mean, for example, who knows what a chamber director does?
Sometimes
Who
the
knows?
chamber director doesn't know either.
Well, I wouldn't go there.
Speaking from experience.
Who knows what a tailor does? Who knows what Christine does? Christine is the new SBDC representative who's out of University of Minnesota, Crookston. Okay? So it's a way to introduce people to different, young people, 10th graders, to different kinds of career paths. And we're stressing careers because you can get a lot of different education. There are a lot of different education paths to go into careers. So it's a way to stress the careers and get people to recognize there's opportunity in this here valley. Okay.
When is the Thrive Grant, the Community Thrive Grant due with Northwest
The
Minnesota?
letter of intent is due something like the 10th of October. The school district is taking the lead. We are working with the school district. Councilman Grassel has been involved, and now the mayor is involved. Northland, because Northland has access to a grant writer, and Northland is involved. Northland is, we are using the grant writer that Northland has to do this. The county health department's being involved. Yeah, there's one not-for-profit social service agency, at least one that's involved right now. And there may be more. But it's a way to try to break down barriers that different cultures have to understanding each other. And we're meeting right now, and I have a meeting tomorrow, in fact, with the grant writer who's structuring things. Saraya Driscoll from the school district is the one who is the chair and the nominal lead of the group right now. Okay? But it grew out of some things that came from the school district, things that they recognized, and it's gone community. We're trying to do it community-wide.
It's also on council agenda tonight for approval or denial.
So there's more to it than last week. Remember last week we were trying to figure out the structure. We have a better idea of the structure right now and how it will work.
And move on to new business.
The Grow Minnesota report is included in your packet. Barry and I visited about 20 businesses this year, and it was a variety of businesses, including some of our downtown businesses. And there are several things that stand out. We can go through all of this. We did 20 visits. It's a stable, locally controlled business environment. The last year's results and this year's results are strongly parallel to each other. This year's reinforce the things we found out last year. About the business environment, there's room for expansion, but we have to meet our current need, but we have to be thinking future needs. Local companies are diversifying and doing well. Even with the revenues are down, profitability has increased. Workforce is stable as demands grow. You can find employees. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer to fill a job than you'd like, but you can find employees, skilled employees, like you run into, Josh, a lot of times, are difficult to find. Tradespeople are difficult to find.
What are the numbers here? You show,
Oh, this is in black and white, isn't it? Go down on page 3, are you having difficulty recruiting workers? The first number is 2017, and the second number is 2018. We changed this so that in future reports, the 2018 number actually be in red, so it's more visible.
Yeah, on the PowerPoint, that's what it is, so, yeah.
Okay? So when you see two numbers there, one is 2017 and one is 2018.
So the
and
first
number
one
on the
is-
right is 2018.
The first one is always 2017?
Yes.
Because we interviewed 13 companies last year, and we interviewed 20 this year. And those 20 companies this year had 689 full-time, 215 part-time, and 434 seasonal. So it represents a pretty good section of the Grand Forks employee base.
It's Grand Forks.
Right.
Okay. Sorry.
I'm not.
Concerns are similar. There is one concern next year. The Demers construction over in Grand Forks may have an impact upon our businesses. We're already talking with the businesses about things that can be done. The intersection of the Third, right, Barry? Third and Demers is going to be open, so you can detour and get into our downtown by coming through there. Route 2 Bridge is supposed to be open, so you can come in that way too. Don't laugh too hard, Tim.
Hopefully in a month and a half.
Yeah. But those things, what we're looking at is, are there things that we can do that will make it easier for our businesses to retain some of their, some of the business that they say have lost in previous road construction jobs? And we're working very hard to find ways, possibly, are there some events that we can partner with people on? What can we do so that our businesses are not harmed by what's going on? Okay, so that's a very major thing to do. The comments about the state of Minnesota are the same as last year. There is one thing that really stood out as we were talking with the folks. East Grand Forks, the backbone of East Grand Forks businesses, we have a few, like American Crystal, but the backbone of our downtown and everything are locally owned, and American Crystal, for that matter, is locally owned, locally run businesses. And if you go across the river, for example, on 32nd, you don't see that. You see out-of-town businesses, chains, and things like that. But our businesses, if you look around town, there are very few that are parts of chains. It's all locally owned businesses whose owners are invested in the community. So that really, really stood out in this year's interviews. Barry, do you have
I
anything
think
to add to that?
page 2 of the products and performance is always an interesting chart. The bottom one, half this year and have introduced new products or services within just the last year. 8 or 12 of them plan on introducing new products out of the 12 again this upcoming year, products or services. And then company sales I thought was interesting. 11 have increased, only 2 have decreased, and 7 have been stable, which I think is impressive. And then the profitability one's even better. 9 have increased, only 1 of the 20 have seen their profitability decrease, and 10 have been stable. So again, I think that says a lot about how that locally owned business community in East Grand Forks is really doing very, very well. And you can just, all these numbers just point to stability. It's very positive for East Grand Forks.
Any questions? Barry, anything else?
No, I think you covered it well, Paul.
Any questions?
We had American Crystal in here
Both times.
at our last council session, and they're very optimistic on this year's season, that they're going to be on par with what last year's season was. And we thank them for being in the community and getting rid of the on pleasant smell. They've done a wonderful job on that. So,
And we thank them for sharing Daniel with us.
oh, yeah.
It's been a joy.
I think the other thing is that the other, I think, benefit of this, and none of this is included in this report, a good number of the companies had specific things they wanted the chamber or the EDA to follow up on. And so getting out and seeing the businesses, visiting with them one-on-one like that, that's also a positive. There were some things that we could do specifically to help specific businesses that would help East Grand Forks. So, and Paul's got kind of a list of those, so.
And we had one where we had to work on the timing of a road opening, too.
Yeah.
So we shared that information, so they were able to make adjustments on how they could have access to their site.
Did you recruit any new chamber members?
No, most of the businesses in East Grand Forks are members of the chamber.
That's good.
Can I ask a question?
You just did.
Ask another.
That's,
I'm not going to go there. When you, in your report, did any one industry stand out that was struggling more than others? Or was it?
we didn't see industry struggling at all.
No, not from a profitability point of view, we didn't see that at all. From a workforce point of view, I think anybody, the more specialized and highly trained your employees are, engineers, real specific skill sets, that's probably where it was the hardest to fill some of those positions. But overall, the businesses that we spoke with are very happy. It's business as usual for them. There weren't really any red flags really at all that we saw, which was very encouraging.
2 years in a row. That's very encouraging.
Yep, that's good.
Before we go on, could we take a second and have Christine talk about a little bit about what her role is? Who she is and what her role is?
Sure.
I told her 2 or 3 minutes.
Okay, I'll make it quick. I'll pass around my cards so you guys have a card too. Feel free to pass them around to other people. Excuse me. So my name is Christine Anderson. As Paul said, I am with University of Minnesota in the newly created Small Business Development Center there. My office is in the Valley Technology Building on the north side of campus. And like small business development centers, I support and represent small businesses from I have an idea all the way to been there, done that, and I'm ready to retire. So all the way up to, I can support businesses up to 500 employees. That's kind of the max that we can do. So whether it's business plans, coaching, training, succession planning, just about anything they want. I can help, or the network of people that I have, that I work with in Northwest Minnesota. Somebody does it well, so we're here to help. And I hope to be over in the East Grand Forks area. I'm trying to set up a schedule. I'm hoping once a week start with maybe a half a day. Get to know your businesses, get to know the people, and see where I can help. So.
I will tell you that from my perspective, when I have people coming in with ideas, I recommend very much that they go and talk to someone like Christine. We also have been using a person before Christine came on board from Bemidji who'd come over. Colleen Falk would come over and do this, but help the people do their business plans. And you approved a loan a little bit ago for a company that we got in touch, that I put in touch with the SBDC so that they could have a full-fledged business plan and have a good understanding of their finances so they knew how they could pay it off. That was a loan that was shared between us and a private financial institution, 60-40. The financial institution took 60% of the money that was needed. We took 40%. But because he had his ducks in a row, he was able to move forward with that, and the SBDC helped them with that.
Is this similar to the Center for Innovation over in North Dakota at the UND? No?
Actually,
No.
there's a small business development center in Grand Forks. It's actually housed at the Center of Innovation, but it is part of the Small Business Development Center program. There's one in every state, so I'm glad there's an
Yeah.
office in Crookston, because I believe we were serviced for quite a while out of Bemidji,
Yeah.
and even for some time in on the interims out of Moorhead, so.
It's, my understanding is it's kind of moved around in the past number of years. It's been based out of Bemidji. But our regional center is actually at UMD in Duluth. Next year, we hope to change that and hopefully bring that to Crookston, I think is the chancellor's desire, so that we have a true Northwest Minnesota representation. Before I started this job, I was the economic development director for Pennington County and Thief River Falls. And while I was there, I contacted the SBDC numerous times saying, we need more representation in the true Northwest. I mean,
Right.
Bemidji, I think, is still kind of in the middle of
Central,
the north. So, all of, Highway 2 North, I mean, we really need a lot of representation. We have so many people that have ideas and they struggle because they don't know how to do a business plan. I made the mistake of asking a lady one time when I first started, so do you have a business plan? Honest, just innocent question. She's like, well, yeah, it's all up here. And then she went on Facebook afterwards and kind of bashed me about it because I shouldn't have embarrassed her that way because she didn't know what a business plan is. And that's really sad. She's since come back and said, will you help me with one? But people don't know. And my main purpose is to help them be successful, whether that's helping them to create a business or really realizing before they mortgage their house, cash in their retirement fund, that, hey, this really isn't going to work. So we kind of go one way or the other. But
And likewise, I want the businesses to be successful, and the financial institutions want the business to be successful. So it really is a partnership among all of us to
Yep.
find ways to help people succeed as they create new businesses, or if they're struggling with an existing business, do it. And what's the charge for your services?
zero.
Zero. It's your taxpayer dollar at work.
I only ask for a smile once in a while.
So this is something that really helps business.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Nicole Benson.
Nicole Benson, DP.
Nicole Benson took out a down payment assistance loan in 2004. She paid for a little bit, and then she was contacted in 2006 because she was arrears on a loan. She filed for bankruptcy but did not include this loan in her papers that were being filed for the bankruptcy. So this slipped through, and when she was doing a closing on the house, the loan showed up. So what do we have to do to take care of this loan? There had been no effort for years to collect this loan. In fact, nobody, I suspect that it was thought that the loan was included in the bankruptcy, but there's nothing in the record that shows that. I talked with Ron and I talked with Justin about the discretion and what we can do, because this is a loan that's, she asked me how much it would be to pay it off. I told her, because I calculated all the interest to what the payment would be, and it kind of floored her on what it would be. But this is not really a loan that was no longer collectible. So it's something, if we can collect something on it, because there's no judgment or anything, if we can collect something on it, we're better off than what we were. It's money that we would never have expected to receive. She offered $1,000. As I said, I talked with Ron, I talked to Justin, and I accepted it so we could bring this matter to closure. What I ask at this point is that you ratify that action.
How much would they have owed us?
Including interest, a little bit over $6,000.
Okay.
But the loan itself, the base loan was $3,000.
Okay.
But it's had, like I said, no payment since 2006.
Is there enough in the property she was selling property?
She wants to rebuy. I think she was refinancing.
I think
If I'm
it
not
sounds like
mistaken,
it's
she was
refinancing.
refinancing the property. The
Yeah.
biggest issue was that it was, in my opinion, uncollectible.
Yeah.
The statute of limitations on the note had ran. However, it was
beneficial to her to be able to get a satisfaction from us rather than us just doing nothing. And then she would have had to try to figure it out, how to get a release, how to go to court and get it released. And so based upon that, the $1,000 was a benefit to both of us.
We all know what attorneys cost, so that would have been more than the $3,000.
But it's about a half hour's time, right?
Yeah.
Worth it.
But this much of the trophies that he sells.
That's why,
So-
that's why you got the suit coat on, right?
I'm asking for a motion that says that this was all acceptable.
I'll make the motion.
Second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Out of curiosity on this, are there any more potential loans out there like this that we should be concerned with at this point? Or, you know, that may still be within the statute of limitation?
It
that
would take
we?
us 5 years to find out.
I'm just asking the question, I mean, you know, is it worth it? I mean, are there like potentially 10 of these, 20 of these out there?
No, there weren't that many down payment assistance loans.
Okay.
So, this one, as far as we can tell, was taken off the records years ago,
Okay.
many years ago. So when we got the letter, it was a case of where is this?
Okay.
Where is the file and all that?
So
I
even
hate
if
to
we
admit
would,
that, we're out-
so even if we found ones, even if we went back and looked, we may not be able to find them because it was removed by from the record by the previous director then,
Or somebody, I can't.
or
say
somebody
who.
else.
It was removed from the record, that's all I can say, because I don't know who would have
Okay.
done it.
You can use your imagination on it, though.
I just want to make clear that it was removed and that was the reason why it was missed, and it wasn't that.
But I couldn't find it. I didn't have any record of it.
Ron couldn't find it, we couldn't find it.
And if a
Brenda
lawyer couldn't find it, then I'm sure that it was unfindable.
Gone without a trace.
So
Imagine
it
that.
benefited all parties to get this done and be done this way.
Yeah, the only thing that I could find is when I went online to do a title search, it popped up online as a mortgage that was still out there, but that was the only record that I could find.
Okay.
So,
Fair enough.
okay,
And the other thing is adjournment.
no,
No?
this thing.
Weird thing?
Kaler Doling. The judgment renewal. Yesterday, we received a letter from, is it Kaler Doling? Is that the way it's pronounced, Ron?
Kaler Doling is the law firm. Kip Kaler is actually one of the attorneys. Gene Doling is the other.
The city, the EDA, received a judgment in 2008 against Joanne Martin of Kraft Company of East Grand Forks Incorporated. She has been making payments. You can see the payments that she's been making periodically. The judgment runs out at the end of 10 years. Kip Kaler has recommended that we renew the judgment. We do not have any out-of-pocket costs for this. The revenues that we receive are the gross less the fee that Kaler takes from that. So we receive a small amount each year. The recommendation is that we keep this open for at least another 10 years in the event that we can find some way to collect more money on this loan, but otherwise we'll just be collecting it. What I want to do in the future is talk to Mr. Kaler to see if there's some way we can get more money paid each year on this loan. Okay? But I would ask that you authorize me to tell Mr. Kaler to renew this.
I'll make the motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Nobody.
That's all I've got today, sir.
Move to adjourn.
Yeah, motion to adjourn?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
He's sleeping over there.
Just say yes. He's nodding his head yes.
Opposed?
That's good enough for me.
Okay.
What?